Mayday, mayday, mayday. Mayday, mayday, mayday. All free citizens. Mayday, mayday, mayday. All that can hear. America has been overthrown. Repeat, America has been overthrown. Communist occupation. Repeat, heavy communist occupation. Location 15 degrees, 2415 north, 30 degrees east, 103. Find covert radio. Repeat, Charlie, Oscar, Victor, Echo, Romeo, Tango. Repeat, covert radio. Mayday, mayday, mayday.
How you guys doing? This is Covert Radio. And this is brutally honest, fearlessly unapologetic talk radio. And oh, we got a great show for you here. Yeah, we do have a great show for you guys here. I do want to get a few things out of the way first. Number one, I want to ask if you guys want to get your pen and pencils out or maybe take some mental notes, because we're going to go over a lot of useful information. I have staggering numbers, guys. That's just mind-blowing about what's going on in the Ozarks. Speaking of the Ozarks, I do want to give a shout-out to, number one, all of the Covert Radio Tribunal members, the Patreon members. I also want to, like I said, give a shout-out to all of the Ozark Bears who have confided in Covert Radio, who has trusted me with just the myriad of information. It's unbelievable what's happening. It really is. The other thing is the LLC show. Guys, I know, you keep saying, I got a couple emails from Covert Radio listeners that are like, what about, the LLC show? It's listen, the amount of information I've added to it is staggering. And you guys are not going to believe the numbers involved here at this point. It's unbelievable. It really, really is. What's also unbelievable is the amount of people that are, the chaos really that's happening in the Ozarks. The amount of people that are moving in, the amount of people that are falling apart, the businesses that are falling apart, the distancing from Owen Benjamin, the distancing from Beartaria, they are all figuring it out. They're all figuring it out. And all it takes is a catalyst. Covert Radio could be that catalyst, made by Jim Bob. There's so many others. There's a lot of you guys out there that are making clips and trying to warn people. This actually does go down to cognitive abilities. And if you want to go deeper, this actually goes down to the way we're wired. For many years on Covert Radio, a lot of my content is very heavy in psychology. It's very heavy in scientific, neuroscience and experiments and things like that, dealing with psychology and media and rhetoric. And, that's why I really feel qualified to do what I'm doing concerning Owen Benjamin. I'm going to show you a bunch of things. Maybe some of it you've seen, maybe some of it you haven't. But I remember I covered a paper, I think it was, a neuroscience paper. It was a university study that was done it was at least 10 years ago. And it was their research, I believe. See, I can't really remember. It might have been the University of South Carolina, I think it was. But they did research that basically proved that a Democrat and a Republican conservative, or we could just say Democrat and Republican, our brains are physically wired differently. There's evidence for that. Excuse me. Coffee. There's evidence for that. It's actually, it's based on how, it's not environment, it's not political ad campaigns, it's not rhetoric, it's not character assassination. It's not the Tavistock Institute or some, billion-dollar think tank somewhere. It is literally how people are hardwired. And there's no better proof of that than how much media has changed over the last 10 years and how open anymore everybody is with showcasing their own life. TikTok and YouTube and, Instagram and all these social media sites, Facebook, who just give people the ability to just hit play, record, or, go live and just show their psychosis. And you might, over the years, have seen some of this stuff and be like, what the are these people thinking? You literally can't relate to it. You're like, what do they think? Oh, it must be getting old. It's the younger generation. No. Because there really is evidence now showing that our own biological makeup, we're already predisposed to self-identify as either a Democrat or a Republican. We're hardwired differently. And the reason I'm even bringing this up is because at this point, somebody like Covert Radio, a lot of people in the Covert Radio Tribunal, and the people that are now falling out of the cult, the Beartaria cult, they are like, what happened? Like, what, those people are like, but I've never been fooled from the beginning. And there's a lot of people that have never been fooled. But there is a lot of people that are very, very fooled. And it really does break down to our own makeup, our own wiring. There's no real educate. I mean, I guess education can play into that. And then that's another role I'm playing in this. Every one of these, I try to educate you guys with new material, something you may have never heard before. And I can see where a lot of my vernacular has been picked up and used in other people's shows. And thank God, you know what I mean? Because I don't have any, I don't have any other motives here other than getting the truth out, getting to the bottom line, and bringing this demonic Luciferian LARPing, just malignant narcissist named Owen Benjamin, bringing him to justice, and whatever that may be. Because full disclosure concerning the Ozarks, there are some people that I'm in contact with that are very, how could I say this? I'm not saying, I never said what's happening is illegal. I never said that. I never made those claims. I never said what's happening is illegal. I have said it's immoral, it's unethical, it's a shame, it is predatory. These are all things, yes, I have said. But I've never really made the statement that it is illegal. That is what I'm really looking into. How, again, now we're getting into a gray area of racketeering. We're getting into an area of money laundering. In the last video for Covert Radio, Owen Benjamin is so happy, like I said, And I said, whoever said that, Sam wrote it, somebody wrote it, because word on the cow patty is that happens quite often. A lot of the letters are pre-written. A lot of the donations are, it's like priming a pump. You got to get water in the pump before. And, that really works during live streams too. Make up your own mind. You know what I mean? I'm going to tell you what I see, and I'm never going to stop. I've gotten a lot of information from the Bears and the Ozarks, and, I can tell you this, and you're going to see this in a lot of the information we go over. The reality of the weak-minded individuals is one thing. The manipulation and mental conditioning is another thing. And wicked predators like Owen Benjamin, he abuses those avenues. He is, it's like a wolf smelling the blood of a wounded animal. He can smell the blood. And when he does, he abuses them, he takes advantage of them, and he squeezes them relentlessly for all that he can get out of them. And, there's a myriad of reasons why he does this and why he feels that he has the right to do it. Why are strangers buying a millionaire grifter hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of real estate? Let me say that again. Why are strangers buying Owen Benjamin land? Why are complete strangers buying Owen Benjamin land that he then in turn charges those same people to have access to it? Nobody can answer this question. I've gotten a lot of alternative opinions about that. One being that this isn't going to last at all. And really, this past cult festival may be the last one. There may be one more. But other than that, it'll just eventually go away. And Owen Benjamin will wind up with hundreds of thousands of dollars of land that strangers have purchased for him. The overall vibe is that it's all over. It's all crashing. The wheels are falling off. A lot of the Ozark Bears I spoke with, most, this is not what they signed up for. The illusion is over. The illusion is over, Owen. And I promise you something, sir. I promise you. When there is an investigation, they will buckle. They will buckle. You've involved too many good-hearted people. And they did not sign up for this. And they will turn on you. They will turn on Adam. They will turn on Sam. And I could name 5 other people right now that they're going to turn on. The illusion is over. This is not what they signed up for. And for any new people listening to me who may wonder, well, what are you talking about, Covert Radio? What are you talking about? Listen, please let me warn you, okay? All of this calculated razzle-dazzle, all of the manipulation, I'm warning you that you are being targeted. You're a target. You're being targeted. And I'm here to warn you. And I'm also going to show you that there is a very high level of manipulation at play here. I'm going to show you. I'm even going to use Owen's own words. But we're going to start off with something like this. I've talked before about, oh, the Beartards, they're low IQ. Okay. I've talked about the susceptibility of certain people to occult mentality. Okay. I've been told countless times by good people, covert radio, a lot of these people, they're very nice people, they're very good people, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I understand that. I've talked to a bunch of them. I've confided in a bunch of them. They've confided in me. And I know that. They are nice people. They are good. Again, though, there's only two types of people that fall for this. Okay? It does not excuse the reality of the two options that they've succumbed to. This is one of them. And it just so happens that this one here is very prevalent in the upper brass. This is very, very, very prevalent. Jesus, I keep knocking things over. I'm so sorry. So these tomatoes, number one, were specially grown for the cult festival, specially grown. Then they went in the dirt, in the grass, spilled food, ants, whatever else. They dug around, spit, whatever, sweat. They dug around, maggots. Obviously there would have been flies there. Oh my God, get your Owen Benjamin spit seeds that were pulled out of a maggot's belly so that you can have a great story and make some money changers even richer. In my land purchase. Oh, we got the perfect thing going on. We first grew these heirloom tomatoes at the urging of our neighbor who reported this was his favorite variety when he was able to garden, blah, 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 blah. And, we can go back to the, what'd you say? How's he say it? His self-imposed creation, the most queefed comedian on planet Earth.
Covert radio. Yeah, actually, it's not the most queefed comedian. It's actually, Owen Benjamin says he's the most banned comedian. So, yeah, it's not the most queefed. It's the most banned comedian.
Okay, do you guys want to do the show? Is that what you want? Here, come on. You come down here, you do it, okay? Okay, I'm sorry. It is Covert Radio. He is been my daddy. What's that one dude, the lunatic? Oh, man. See, I should have had that clip pulled back up because I thought he was a troll for so long. Good news, guys. Comedy's back. If you're sick of being a miserable drunk and you want to get on the comedy lexicon, good news. Noble Savage drops on. My daddy can't quit getting banned. Let me ask you something. Do you guys know what your dad does, or do you know what your dad did? I wouldn't mind if some of you guys answer me in the comment section. What did your dad do? Tell me about your dad's job. You know how many gay guys went to Northwestern? Look into it. If you don't believe me, look into it. It's almost like, Alex Jones does this too. Oh, my dad, my dad, we used to sit around the kitchen table and with my dad used to have CIA. I have CIA all through my family, and I'm not the CIA. No, I'm not involved in that at all. Agent in place.
God bless America. When I was a little boy, I seen VR in the 1970s. My dad used to have CIA agents all the time. CIA approached my dad. They wanted him to use his dentist practice as
it's almost the same for Owen Benjamin and Daddy. Maybe Daddy's in the sea. Who knows? Also like to give a shout out to Pandora Wake. I've covered this, and I've covered this in depth, and everything I've said has been basically confirmed. The land is garbage there. Owen doesn't live there, and the top brass, they don't make their money off farming. I mean, Banker Boy might have a little garden of tomatoes, but how many tons of cows? How much fertilizer? Are they raised beds? Who knows? A lot of people are going to get hurt up there. A lot of people are going to get hurt. And then when they try to sell that land because it's really not worth anything and they can't afford $30,000 to tap into the electric service that might be a mile from their property, or they can't afford a septic system or a cistern, they can't afford to drill a well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do then? It's all falling apart. It's all falling apart. Some people call him Coddington. I call him AKA. Do you know what racketeering is, Coddington? That's my nickname for him.
I'm going to play a recording of people chanting, "That is embarrassing," 4 times. After the 4th time, write down what you hear.
That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
Interesting. Almost everyone here heard, "That is embarrassing." Listen again and watch the screen.
That is embarrassing. 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 That is embarrassing.
You heard the same thing every single time. Our eyes and ears take in electrical signals which our brains interpret based on our expectations. We don't see reality. We see our reality.
And, we're not going to get into this at all. I just want to show you, the power of understanding this. And these are things that are on the surface. This is like people saying, the government has so much technology. The normies are 20 years behind at what the government can actually do. I believe that. Because when I lived in LA many years ago, we used to go to the Chino Hill street races. Okay. This is 10 years before the Fast and Furious, at least 10 years. I'd say maybe 8 years. We'll say 8 years before the first Fast and Furious, 8 years prior. And I remember going to the Chino Hill street races, and a buddy of mine had like a 70-something, I don't know, it was a muscle car. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was white, had black leather interior. And we used to go to this industrial park. And it was like once a week, every Thursday or something. And people would street race literally in the middle of industrial park. They'd drive to this one section that was flat and straight. And people would come down the straightaway, go up on the curb and hang their front end off, back up a little bit. And everybody would just watch these cars race. And I remember standing there watching, and I would hear like sounding like chainsaws. And there are these little Hondas just blowing the doors off of like Corvettes and Vipers and, even muscle cars and stuff. And my mind was blown. I'm just like, how are these little cars like destroying, these big motors like 302s or 350s even. And I never knew about nitrous. I never knew about any of that stuff. And then it was like many, many years later, Fast and Furious come out. And now we're talking like 20 years later, at least. It's like, now kids are still doing that stuff to their cars. I always hear like, eek, eek, eek. And I'm like, I knew about this 20 years ago. You know what I mean? But I always say that about covert radio. And I know this is going to sound cocky, but I live in the future. I live in the future. And really, I could prove that. If you could even go back 7 years of covert radio, and if you would listen to every one of my boring shows, the Sunday shows are all good. But if you would listen to it, you would see a person predict the future. Even though we're only talking 7-8 years, but still, listen, I'm in the right space. You know what I mean? That's all I can say. You're in good hands with covert radio. But with your, with your brain, like if you're a left brain thinker, you're very analytical and stuff, which I could tell you a story right now, but I'm going to mention Made by Jim Bob. When me and Made by Jim Bob got into it a while ago, which I love the guy. And, I'm glad that, we put that to bed because he really is. He's a very good dude. But there's another guy I'm talking to who has a very analytical brain as well. And there's actually 2 or 3 guys that I'm talking to that are part of the Beartaria family or whatever. And I'm talking about that I've realized that are primarily left brain thinkers. And Jim Bob, even though he's so talented and creative, he's also very smart. So there's that too, because I know what's going to happen to Jim Bob if he watches this. He will see this dancer. He'll be maybe, not maybe, he probably could at will change the direction that she spins. And he'll float between the hemispheres of his brain. That's the only way you can make this happen. If you see her spin to the clockwise, that's one hemisphere of your brain you're using. If you see her spinning counterclockwise, that's the opposite, the creative side. You have your analytical side and your creative side. And it's rare for, say somebody like Made by Jim Bob, who's very talented, very creative, plays guitar, writes music, tells jokes, does his cartoons, does his podcast, and is so quick-witted, but, you have that level of creativity, but then you also have how smart he is and analytical. So somebody like him, he might wake up on a Thursday and look at this dancer and feel a certain, I'm going to work on music today. He'll see her spinning one way. And then maybe he's going to go do something that requires writing or whatever. He'll watch this dancer. She's spinning the opposite way. So it really does depend on what hemisphere of your brain you're using. But back to what I was saying about analytical thinkers. It's crazy because they hate one thing about covert radio. But there's other people who, I've explained why I do what I do. I type in a very, very distinct pattern. I use punctuation that you're not supposed to in places you're not supposed to. I use quotations, probably way too much. I way overcapitalize stuff. And I do that for several reasons. I do that so I can control your eyes. And I also do that so that I can control the pattern in which you read to give your own brain a break. However, when you're talking to a primary left brain person, it drives them crazy. And I remember Jim Bob like, dude, why do you type like this? Because it really does drive people crazy if you don't understand what I'm doing or if you're not a primary right brain thinker. There's another dude, I wish I could tell you who it is, but he's like, dude, when I read your text, I can hear you say those words because I literally almost type like I speak. Anyway, it's convoluted. Anyway, that's what's happening in America. They've been attacking our kids. They've been flooding the country with third world immigrants to attack the white women primarily in America. That's a fact. Just like pornography, who's the majority of it? White women. That's why in Syria, when that all broke out and all the refugees were storming Europe, which were about to be stormed again, and I have a video coming up about that, through the Darien Gap, they're all being staged. There's big, huge camps all coming up through Panama, 2, 3, 4 mile long, tens and tens of thousands of immigrants. All of these, Palestinians are going to be coming here now. And listen, if you don't live in a sanctuary city, you have no idea how bad it's about to get for you, because it will come to you eventually. That's what pornography is. That's why all the white women were getting attacked and beaten and raped in Europe by all the Syrians, because they thought, we've seen that white women go through all the, so they just automatically assume white women are a certain way. It's war. This is war. The money changers run the pornography industry too. And they also run Beartaria. It really, really, really is sad. I mean, there are so many good people involved with this. And, like I said, word on the cow patty is there are about, 40, 50 families that have moved to the Ozarks. 40 to 50 families have fallen prey to Owen Benjamin. And they're about to have their lives fall apart because they have succumbed to some ex-Hollywood elitist Luciferian cult leader who is a toxic and malignant narcissist who's bent on breaking people's will, breaking their mind, robbing them, robbing their finances to further his own greed and thirst for power. That's who he is. I don't even know if you guys, and I say a lot of, I have a bad habit of just assuming and this has happened to me my whole life. I have a bad habit of assuming you just understand, or you just know, or you understand what I understand, or you know what I know. Okay? Just for Pete's sake, I'm going to clarify something here, because I say this a lot. I talk about rhetoric. And a lot of times I just say there are many forms of rhetoric. I know that. And I'm not going to get all into it right now. But there are many, many forms of rhetoric. And when it's used as a weapon by demons like Owen Benjamin, you can see the results. Complete strangers turn you into a millionaire and buy you hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of property. For what? That's the power of rhetoric. That is when you use it as a weapon. You can see the results. But specifically, I will mention just a few techniques that and he uses many. Trust me, he uses many. But these are primarily the techniques he uses. Ethos, pathos, and illusion. Not illusion, I-L-L, illusion, A-L-L. Those are just three of the primary, almost daily. These are mind-melting techniques that he uses. And again, a lot of you guys may know this, maybe you don't. But if you want to know more about it, you can look into it. Overall, though, ethos, very generally, it's basically... Ethos is used to build beliefs, ideals. That's why even though, somebody can sit on the internet, a grown man, defend a complete stranger, demonic elitist who's LARPing as a Christian and got blown out of the water during the Trinity debate, they will still sit there in cognitive dissonance and defend it. And through ethos, a rhetorical or a rhetoric technique, through ethos, it is constantly reinforced when Owen can squeeze it in. Or at least that small aspect. But he uses ethos constantly. guiding a belief. That's why he's turning them now into Muslims, because that's probably his new grift. He's going to be a Muslim leader under the watchful eye of Sam, or it's all going to still be controlled by Sam. But Owen is slowly turning all of the devoted Beartards into Muslims. Almost constantly, I'd say once every day or 2 or 3 days. That's why I love Muslims. That's why I love Muslims. Islam, 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 Muslims, Muslims, Islam, Islam. So he's turning them now. He's converting them from Christianity into Islamicist. Okay? He's guiding beliefs, guiding ideals. And those are specifically under the umbrella of community, Beartaria, ideology, basically the passion of being a Beartar, dropping your worldly identity to get a bear name and join the cult and make your way to the promised land, Beartaria in the Ozarks, Zion, Jerusalem, they've called it. So ethos is the beliefs, the ideals that are he lays the foundation of what the Beartaria beliefs are. That's ethos. And, again, because he has a bunch of yes men and dolts like Coddington and all these beta boys are online and just making clothes for daddy, all this reinforces his authority. And that's why people believe what he says. I mean, because there's people that are under his control, under his power. Owen also uses pathos, which is his emotional appeal. This could be part of his acting chops or whatever he learned from the wizards in Hollywood. But, every once in a while, it's the guys, this letter's going to make me cry. It's so beautiful. This is once every, say, couple weeks. He's weeping about something, a letter, or somebody sent him a shekel in the mail. So this is part of pathos. It's an emotional appeal. This is where he attacks the women or in the feminine men, which are 90% of the Beartards. Yeah, so that's pathos. It's the emotional values. It's, it appeals to everybody's core, like, oh, poor guy's crying. Yeah, okay. And it also, he uses the us versus them. That'll also trigger an emotional response too. Who's attacking us now? Who's attacking us now, Owen? So that's pathos. So he uses ethos, he uses pathos, and he uses illusion, A-L-L, not I-L-L. Even though he uses a lot of illusion, illusion is part of rhetoric. So, and this is probably what he uses the most, because this is why he's always mentioning Hollywood. Guys, when I was in Hollywood, guys, Vince Vaughn, guys, Adam Sandler, da-da-da-da-da, guys, da-da-da-da-da. When I was with Christina Ricci, da-da-da-da-da. Constantly using illusion, constantly. It's always pointing to what I did in Hollywood. It's always pointing to, I'm on the wall at the Comedy Store. It's always pointing to, when I was in Adam Sandler's movie, it's always pointing to something famous, something the audience will know. And, you can, in Hollywood, that's really all he really has to talk about is Hollywood, because there's proof of that. So illusion is constantly referencing and pointing people to famous works. So those are just 3 out of probably 20 or 30 I could name right now. Those are 3 that he constantly uses. Right, Owen? Right? Yeah, come on. Come on, buddy. Tell the folks. Tell them what a weapon you can wield using rhetoric. What all did Daddy teach you, Owen, huh? Because here's your own words, Big Pear, P-E-A-R. Here's your own words, buddy.
I'm like, would you like me to put mind memes in your audience's mind forever? Is that what you want out of me? Then just back the fuck down. A hierarchy exists. You've witnessed me for years and years and years do this. Once the hierarchy has been breached and lines have been crossed, I have to mock you and take you down publicly. Micro Weens, oh my God. I'm so good at this. Like, okay, I talked about this earlier. Vox is probably one of the smartest people I've ever met and the most knowledgeable about the sexual hierarchy of anyone I've ever met. And for fun, does war games all day long. Okay? He said publicly that I'm one of the only people who would never want to debate or publicly fight with because my rhetoric skills are so ridiculously good. Like, even if Vox was right, he said publicly that I'm one of the only people who would never want to debate or publicly fight with because my rhetoric skills are so ridiculously good. Like, even if Vox was right, which he probably would be in certain debates we had, because Vox is extremely intelligent. So, like, let's say I was debating him on something that he was right. I'd still probably hold the crowd because I'm so fucking good at rhetoric. And he knows that. And he strategizes around that. He's like, okay, well, Owen's fucking great at rhetoric. I don't want to fuck with that. It's like, I wouldn't even want to fight Vox. I'm like bigger than Vox, but Vox is like really good at striking. He's incredibly athletic. Like, actual men think like this. Feminized, soy-eating, pot-smoking Canadians, they don't think like that. They're like, oh, I don't feel right. I feel bad. You called me a name. Okay, well, you're going to get smoked.
See, right there, he's basically just admitting his detachment from empathy. And that's just pure personality disorder. That's pure narcissism right there. He has no empathy. That's why he can do this. I can't listen to this demon, man. I can't. And, just like this clip I'm going to play you guys, he's a predator, guys. He's a demon. And there are people's lives that he is ruining. There, like I said, there's people in the Ozarks right now that are getting divorced. Right now. There are bears falling out in the Ozarks. They don't get along anymore. There's businesses falling apart in the Ozarks. And all the new blood that's moving there, you watch. You watch what happens. You watch. And it's all to make this demon, Sam, Adam, maybe Duncan, maybe and this one and that one. Who else, huh? I can go on. Yeah? Come on. It's all to make them rich. Rich. Money. Paper. Money changers. Ooh, copper. Ooh, a shekel. Non-empathetic, demonic wizards. He's a predator. I mean, you're a predator. Look at this demon's eyes. Dark circles. Blown out. You're a predator. And you're targeting weak-minded, helpless individuals. Right, Adam? Right, Permy Bear? I want you guys to watch this, if you can stomach it. Let me see. I don't even know if I have this queued up in the right spot. Let's see here.
So we do a lot here because our goal is not to just, provide food for ourselves. We're trying to feed our community as well.
Oh.
So here on the farm, we're pleased to be involved in the piloting of the Builder Buddy program.
Like, my Builder Buddy Farm Friend program would be families living on my land, doing work, farming, and they get to eat what I eat and live roughly how I live. And 13 weeks a year, they work on the castle.
We've had 3 Builder Buddies so far, most notably the...
Let me please take this back for you. Do you understand what he just said? You guys can't sit back here. You have to get involved to stop this. Become a member of the Covert Radio Tribunal. The link is in the description. Become a Covert Radio Tribunal member. Join this fight. This has to stop. What is going on here? What is going on? And now 40 to 50 new families have moved to a literal desert with a little bit of grass on top, who have bought into a delusion that was crafted by demonic money-changing wizards through Medea and rhetoric. Do you understand that? Tyrants, cult leader lunatics, use, abuse, fleece, and disillusion the people. You're no leader. You're no leader. You're a lunatic. And the castle you need is a cell. It'll still be built of block. All the while you portray that you're some divine being, that you're all-knowing, you're 147 IQ, that you're worthy of worship and blind allegiance, and you've gotten it through rhetoric, psychology, manipulation, lies, and straw man techniques. Because in reality, sir, in reality that I show the people, even when you're given the chance to help somebody, your greed, you can't hide it. You can't hide it with your words and your rhetoric.
Oh, take a loan on that car. What they're doing is they're making you that rat that won't move 5 centimeters for food, because then you're a slave. The freedoms they give you are
While daddy promotes slavery, go to the promised land, Lord Bear. Go to the promised land. Go to Beartaria, Jerusalem. I can't play this. I'm done. Listen, guys, join Covert Radio Tribunal. It's up to you. I mean, you think this is a joke. I don't know what else I can show you guys. I don't know. When it comes to the manipulation, the rhetoric, the psychology, the wickedness of Owen Benjamin, I'm Covert Radio. Make sure you subscribe to Rumble, because more than likely, I'm thinking that's where the LLC show is going to drop. Become a patron, support this type of media. And there's so much more to come. This is brutally honest, fearlessly unapologetic talk radio. You guys take care.